You may have heard that Arne Slot is the man to replace Jurgen Klopp next season. Yes, Stevie, just in case you didn't know. You've been hiding under a rock somewhere. We've got Dutch football expert Marciano Vink with us now. Very happy to have you with us, Marciano. So tell us, Arne Slot, what can we expect from him at Liverpool?
Now, first of all, I want to say that it's going to be really a tough job to replace Jurgen Klopp because he did excellent at Liverpool. But I think the directors did a good job and they did their homework, you know, like looking at the stats of Arne Slot, looking at what kind of person he is. And there's a lot of similarities with Jurgen Klopp. Arne Slot, he came 3 years ago to Feyenoord and he made them believe that they could win silverware, and he showed them how. And especially, he raised the bar in Holland, and you know, he made it difficult for a lot of teams in Holland. He won the championship, he won the cup, he reached the Conference League final, and he did it all with a small budget. And this guy is the real deal. I think I've seen lots of managers and seen a lot of people interacting with the press. And this guy is a cool customer. He's really, really good.
What's the reaction been then in the Netherlands, Marciano, to his appointment?
Everybody knew that he was leaving the club this year. Last year, Tottenham came and they really wanted to sign him, but he wanted to finish the project with Feyenoord. This guy's a loyal guy, and he finished his contract, and he did better than last year. He didn't reach the Europa League final. He didn't become the champions because PSV Eindhoven was this year better. But the way he plays with Feyenoord, the style of play is so attractive. So everybody knew he was going, and then to a big club as Liverpool, yeah, that was we say the cherry on the cake for him, and also for all the Dutch people, but because we're really proud that he's going to a club like Liverpool.
Do you think he'll be more suited to the Premier League than Erik Ten Hag, Marciano?
Yeah, Erik, I said like 2 years ago that Erik Ten Hag was a really good manager, and I think he proved in the first year that he's capable of working in the Premier League. But this year, I don't know. He had a lot of injuries. I agree on that. You know, he's talking about the injuries a lot. But you know, especially the players he had and he could put in the first 11, they didn't perform. I don't know if the players let him down, or he didn't have the tactics, or he doesn't have the ability to convince the players of how the style he wants to play. I don't know where something is going wrong in Manchester, but you know, it doesn't look too good for him now. He won the FA Cup, good for him, but I think the owners, they have to decide whether they want to give him another year so he can finish his contract and prove that he's a good manager. I still believe that he can succeed in the Premier League. But, you know, things haven't been going his way, especially in the league.
I think Mr. Ten Hag's struggles this year it's not been great timing for Arne Slot in terms of perception. But that's a very generalisation. You know, that's probably more from a fan.
It's true, though.
It is true that, you know, but it's more probably from a fans and maybe some media. I don't know. The perception would be, well, you know, guy comes in from Ajax, good first year, now he's struggling like hell to save his job, and they've been terrible. Yeah, they won the FA Cup. And, well, what can this guy do? And that's kind of apples and oranges, isn't it? In a way, because it's completely different. But I think in a sense that, you know, it's an outside the box in a sense way of going about it for Liverpool. I think it is quite exciting. It's going to be intriguing to watch. And what Erik Ten Hag has done at Man United bears no resemblance in what Arne Slot will do. And you talked about obviously the comparison between the Dutch managers. There's a complete difference in what Slot is walking into to be fair, into what Erik Ten Hag walked into. Not that there's not some fires to fight at Liverpool, there is. But that club, albeit it has some financial restraints, is on a very, very good footing. And you really couldn't say that about Man United, both when Ten Hag took over, or indeed even since the investment of Ineos.
It's just impossible not to look and see what's happened over the last 12 months at Manchester United and think, wow, are we going to get Ten Hag Mark II? I would suggest that what Arne Slot has in his favour is the way that his teams have played the game. They're very similar to the philosophy of Klopp. You know, they want to go forward quick, they want to squeeze people, they want to do it at a fast pace. I mean, these are all things that he's walking into. Whereas I think Ten Hag, yes, he had a decent first year, but it was a completely different way of playing, and he had to kind of teach his United team how he wanted the game to be played. I think Slot's walking into a different scenario. Yes, there are some questions that have to be asked with the current Liverpool squad, but the basics of the way he plays, that squad that he's walking into is used to doing that. That has to be a huge advantage.
To be fair,
Slot.
just before we back to Marciano, Erik Ten Hag, to be fair to him, his Ajax side was very good to watch. You think about that side that lost, and it should have been in the Champions League final, but it really, I mean, it was a great semi-final. Tottenham came back, credit to them, but they had it. I mean, they were the better side for long periods, and they played some great stuff. And that was a difficult transition for him coming into that United side. To be fair to Ten Hag, to try and come in and do all that stuff that he was doing at Ajax with this United side. Whereas it's not quite as easy at Liverpool, but as Stevie said, you're kind of halfway there already, where at Man United, he was not.
Yeah, I think we've lost Marciano for a moment, but hopefully we'll get him back in just a second.
I tell you what, if I was listening to us two as well, I would have pulled the plug.
No, I think he was actually nodding along, agreeing with what you were saying.
He was sleeping off. No, he was sleeping.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Before I think he's back. Yeah, we can go. So Marciano, hello.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what you thought of what the guys were saying there. What did you make of it?
No, I agree that Erik Ten Hag, Ajax played some marvellous football, but he had the players he could teach, and without any baggage, without any history. And he brought in my opinion, he brought in the wrong players. He paid a lot of money for the wrong players who couldn't do what he really wanted. And now he's like in a state where he really wants to put out his ideas, but he doesn't have the players to do so. At Ajax, he had youngsters, he had experienced players, but all they were facing one way, and that's winning the Champions League, winning the league, dominating. But with this Man United, you can't dominate. There are too many players with a lot of baggage, with a lot of experience from other managers, playing at other clubs. And then this guy comes and tries to drill tactics. And I'm not sure whether this team is balanced enough to do whatever he wants. And I must agree that Arne Slot is coming into a club where they already play the style of play he wants to play. And I think he will put some Slot manners, to put some Slot ideas into the team. For example, Trent Alexander-Arnold will be having a blast because he can go into midfield. They want to create a +1 in midfield. They want to play with wingers, or he wants to play with wingers. And the whole team attacks, so it's going to be a challenge for Virgil van Dijk, whether he wants to dribble into midfield, creating situations. So I think it's a lot of similarities with Jurgen Klopp, but on the other hand, this guy plays some attractive football. And can he do it in the Premier League? I think so. Can he do it with this team? I do believe that he can do it. So the only similarity with Ten Hag and Arne Slot is that they're both Dutch. Otherwise, it's a total different ballgame.
Well, I would hope they wouldn't push, Arne Slot wouldn't push the boat out for somebody like an Anthony, who Erik Ten Hag pushed the boat out for. If rumours are to believe, he was 30 or 40 million, and he said, no, this guy, we need this guy, we need this guy, we need this guy. Yeah. And they paid way over the top for him, and he struggled. badly, in fact, struggles so much. They play kids before him. He comes off the bench. He's not alone. I don't know if Ten Hag pushed for Mason Mount, but somebody did. And not that Mason Mount is a bad player. He's had an injury-ravaged season. But it really wasn't a position you thought they need to go and spend 70 million on.
No.
So I think the important thing is whoever's recruiting the players in the family slot is having an input. You'd imagine he is, that they're getting their signings right, because some of the signings, obviously before Ten Hag got there, were poor, and after Ten Hag got there were poor. But on another sort of just drifting off slightly on a different side here. What are we now? Tuesday. Lost track of days.
Tuesday.
Yep.
And Manchester United, can I just say before we go any further, Manchester United, right, are an absolute disgrace, right? If this was the Glazers running the football department, we'd be saying, this is horrendous. Glazers know nothing about football. How can you leave the guy hanging? Ten Hag, come on, most people know he's probably going to be sacked. Well, now Tuesday, we're 3 days after the FA Cup final, and everybody's still hanging, probably the manager. If the Glazers were doing that, people would be saying absolutely clueless. So what is Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos and Brailsford and all these people doing?
They're busy talking to other managers, apparently.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can still sack a manager and talk to other managers if that's what you're going to do. And if you're not going to sack him, they make a statement and say, hey, we're not sacking him, and this is what we're doing, and that's it.
To be honest, it really doesn't. It really shouldn't have anything to do with whether they're talking to other managers or not. The guy... You either think the guy is going to take them from where they are right now to the end of next season, at least a top 4 spot, maybe challenging for whatever. That's how you're figuring out whether Ten Hag's staying. Not talking to other managers, and then if they all say no, then we're going to keep him. You've got to figure out, is this guy good enough for us or not? And as Craig said, this should have been Monday morning. Let them celebrate winning the cup, but then on Monday, right, we get down to business and we're making a statement of where this club is going. And what do? Nothing.
Does that give Man United fans any hope that it's not going to be wishy-washy down the line? Stevie said this is cutthroat, to excuse that expression, but it's a severe business. Monday morning, you've won the cup, you're gone, or you're not gone. But it would show the intent of this organisation that is now being driven by the Ineos side of it, by their investment. They're not owners, but they're investors. That would have shown their intent about the business that they mean. We are currently at almost midnight UK time, and nobody's any the wiser apart from the leaks behind the scenes. That's no different to how the Glazers have run the business with Ed Woodward and all those cronies for years.
And what's the reaction about this whole situation in the Netherlands with how Ten Hag's been treated here, Marciano?
Well, we saw the interview after the FA Cup, and that was a big thing over here, that, winning the FA Cup, and on the sideline he was criticized for the whole season. It should have been, in my opinion, at another time, and you can criticize Erik Ten Hag for a lot of things. The guy, I know also from Holland, he always is busy and involved in Man United or Ajax 24 hours a day. He gives it his all, but, as the gentleman at the table, Greg, also said, the squad isn't good enough, and he's also to blame for getting the players into the squad. He overpaid for a lot of players, and also players who were maybe over the hill, and you can't play in the Premier League with players who already seen everything, and coming in. They have to go to the Arabia or somewhere else, but not in the Premier League. In the Premier League, you have to give it all. And when I look at the matches of Man United, I see players, playing football, but not with heart, not with the will to really succeed or really do something special. So, in my opinion, if the board wants to fire him, they should have done it after the FA Cup and so I totally agree with what's been said. And now they just let him hang, and we don't even know who's going to be there next year because they don't communicate. They doesn't come with a statement. So, in my opinion, Man United has to really change a lot, and beginning maybe with the head coach, and then also get rid of a lot of players and start all over. You have like these young lads like Mainu and Garnacho. Maybe that's the future, and you got some players who are really willing to give it all for Man United, but there are also a lot of players in the team. I'm not so sure.
Left them hanging, haven't they? It's a man with a van sitting outside Eric's house. Don't know where to get the sofa in the van, so he's, what I mean? It's just not. I mean, come on.
I think that if you're a Man United fan, the disappointing thing would be the fact that there was such a lot of noise over Sir Jim Radcliffe coming in that everybody thought, right, somebody's going to grab a hold of this club on the football side and get the job done. I mean, that's certainly what I thought was going to happen. And as I said, I'm sure Man United fans must have thought, right, Glazers are getting pushed to the side. We've got a guy who clearly is going to be in charge. Things are going to happen. And as I said, we've got the answer. Nothing's happened. Again.
It's quite incredible. There was so many leaks before the FA Cup final, which certainly were not ideal, but it happened that Ten Hag had to field all these questions about his future 2 and 3 days before the cup final. But those leaks, once Man United realised those leaks were out there and were so public in all the tabloids and every network as well, they had to. Then you have to make a quicker decision, get the game done, as Stevie said, and let them celebrate, and then Monday make that decision, because everyone knows that's their choice, is to fire him, right? Everybody knows that's because the leaks have been out there. But if the scenario is that they're holding him there because they're looking around, it's just utterly ridiculous. It's just,
but what is the opinion of the Man United supporters? Because we're here in Holland, we get these messages, on Instagram or on Twitter that the Man United supporters are still supporting Erik ten Hag, and that they're more or less blaming the squad. Is that true?
Well, I think like everything else, Marciano, football fans are fickle.
I've seen fans say both sides.
Well, football fans are fickle. Listen, and he got a lot of support at Old Trafford, particularly in his final home game when he made the speech. So that was sort of encouraging. But there's been multiple times this year the fans have booed the home, particularly at home when there's been 70,000 there. The style of football that has been played and sort of how they've been dominated. And as I say, look. Fans will remember what happened recently. And what happened recently was they won the FA Cup final. Had they lost the FA Cup final, which they didn't do, the bulk of those fans online would be saying, let's get Ten Hag out. So, at the end of the day, this decision has to come down to the business people.
All right.